Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Long time no see. We're playing 428 Shibuya Scramble. I'm here with Yoshi,
Hello, folks.
and my controller works. This is part 28, and we are probably. Actually, don't know how much longer we have in this game.
I think 70% done.
Yeah.
I just made up a number.
But 70 sounds right. I know we're definitely over halfway through. Do you remember what happened last time? That's a little hint at what happened last time. Kano died.
Kano's not supposed to die. He's the main character.
Let's see, what happened last time? So he went. Oh yeah, he was
Wait,
chilling.
so we found out that Ashi's dad is is uh, is is doing bad stuff.
Yeah, I think that was. Was that last time?
Was that the time? Well, that might have been the time before.
Yeah, his dad was the one who is after Hitomi.
He's like, if someone I'm not I mean, I would never do this, but if someone happened to die or something, and they had that blood type, I mean, yeah, that would really suck for them, and I'm super sorry, but you have blood, people still dead.
Yeah, something like that. He's like brain dead. What if I, got somebody to destroy the brain? Is that the same thing? Theoretical, hypothetical question. Maria is hanging out with the assassin on the roof. They were talking about his childhood buddies, his love life.
That was like 3 months ago. What do you? That was like last year. What are you talking about, man? That was forever ago.
I'm going through all the characters. It's been a while. Osawa, all the detectives left except for Mr. Banana Kajiwara. And they're looking at Pretty Honey. I don't remember how his plotline ended. Minorikawa, he had a flashback.
Oh yeah. So when he was coming up, climbing the ranks under the tutelage of that whiny guy who has since passed away.
Yeah.
He was his mentor.
And I think his kid showed up and got taken. And when Minorikawa went to protect her, he got kicked in the face and fell down the stairs.
I don't remember that, but I believe you.
So in order to change that, we gotta adjust Kano's thing. But then I don't know how else to do Kano. Maybe they'll give us a little tip.
Okay. I can't see the game. Am I supposed to be able to see the game?
Yeah, you're supposed to be able to see the game. Do you see it?
No, I see a little polyball. I hope that's not like, I'm not like doxing you or whatever. But all I see is a little polyball.
If you click around on this stream, hold on.
Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, I was just looking at the phone call.
You're looking at my profile pic, my PFP.
But they went over him.
Yeah, he was badly beaten. Wow. So I guess we have to take care of... Someone else led them here. So maybe... this is Achi's fault?
It's always Ashi's fault.
And then Minotikawa's bad, and Hana shows up, but someone brought her to Heaven Publishing by mistake. Or, well, not by mistake. It was a mistake. And we know who that was.
We do?
Yeah, it was Kano. Pretty
What a
sure.
bonehead.
He's like, hey, no, wait, that's not the Kano voice. He's like, hey, little kid. You look like you need some help. And she's like, I want to go to Heaven Publisher. He's like, alright, I'll take you there. This is clearly a mistake, but here you go. Which one should we fix first? I don't know exactly how to fix... well, maybe I do know how to fix Kano's. Which line should we fix first?
Let's do the one that's not Kano.
Okay.
Sorry, Kano. No vegetables tonight.
Either way, we'll have to go through Kano. Because, like, to fix Kano's, we have to go through Aji. To fix Minorikawa's, we have to go through Kano.
All right. Well, let's do whatever. That's fine. It's fine. We're gonna have to do Kano.
So this is the choice. I don't know. How does this lead to Hana, though? I actually don't know. I guess going to the... I don't know, man. Maybe we should just go to Achi really quick.
Alright.
I think what happens, because we don't head to the hospital, maybe he runs around town and those guys chase him and he ends up at the hospital. Because we said we weren't going to the hospital and he ended up there anyways. So I wonder if that is... Please go to the hospital, I'm asking you to. And I'm definitely someone in trouble.
I appreciate that.
I think this is how we fix it.
Okay. So yeah, how about we drop by the hospital for a bit?
The emotions Achi had been trying to hide now came welling to the surface.
Nailed it. We'll go see Suzune, and after that, we can go look for your sister. Would that be okay with you?
That would be more than okay with me. And at long last, Hitomi smiled at him. She smiled at him before.
Yeah, a couple times.
Back in sync with each other, Achi and Hitomi headed to the hospital. Right, and I think we've seen this scene before. Talking about the hospital. Yeah, we've seen that. Okay. Kano has changed. Great. Let's fix Minonikawa's. I feel like it's one of these choices. So we called the wife.
Yeah.
So should we call his girlfriend or...
Yeah.
Girlfriend?
Let's call Bae. Because we're not supposed to go to the hospital, right?
I guess so, yeah. Began to worry about Rumi and decided to give her a call. The phone rang several times before it went to voicemail. The fact that she hadn't picked up made Kano all the more anxious. He was still staring at his phone when he got a call of his own. When he peered at the incoming call display, his heart nearly stopped. You know what it says?
It says incoming, and then some stuff in Japanese, and it says 09066842441.
Well, the Japanese is Tateno's name. There it was. Kano quickly pressed the button to accept the call.
Detective Titano? Detective Titano, is that you?
There was a whole mountain of things Kano wanted to ask. Just what had Toteno been doing this whole time? Why had he let Adkarawan go free? And what had happened to Itomi? But while he was trying to decide what question to pose first, Toteno spoke.
Basically, I've secured Maria Hosawa.
Right. That's fine. Oh, yeah, that's right. Heroic. Okay.
What?
The word came out as a startled gasp.
Detective Titano, you have to bring her here ASAP. Right now, she's...
Toteno cut him off.
You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once. Hitomi? Osawa? Yes. I heard over the wireless that the man from the U.S. Embassy had her in custody.
Kano hadn't been listening to the most recent wireless traffic. Apparently Stanley had managed to find Itomi. But what was Toteno getting at here?
Wait, hold on. What for? I mean, why do you need me to bring Hitomi Osawa to you?
I kind of feel like we've read this before. It's starting to feel familiar to me.
Oh, I don't remember this yet, but we'll see.
Okay, well, we'll keep going. There was no reply.
Detective Titano. Oh, wait, yeah, I do. I think we. Yeah, I haven't even done this. Detective Titano, answer me, please.
Basically, I need. Toteno replied as if he hadn't heard Kano's questions.
There is an office building in Nanpedai called South Hill. I'll be waiting for you on rooftop. If you don't bring her, I'll kill Mario.
With that, with that grisly warning, he hung up. Kano's hand went limp. His phone slipped from his grasp and fell to the floor. Kano went to South Hill in Nanpedai alone. Let me see. Alright, cool. Minotakawa has changed. Great. We didn't see, Hana. South Hill is the building that takes its name from a rough translation of Nanpedai, the name of the area where it is located. The official name is South Hill Building, but since this is awkward to say, it is frequently shortened to South Hill. He hadn't brought Hitomi as Toteno had demanded, nor had he reported the situation to Kuze. First, he wanted to meet with Toteno and find out what was going on. He took the elevator to the 8th floor. After that, he had to take the stairs to the rooftop. As he made his way up the steps, he tried to imagine what Toteno might want with Hitomi. He hadn't noticed anything suspicious about the senior detective in the lead-up to the stakeout at the Scramble. Toteno had seemed like the same man Kano had always revered. So why was he doing this? Kano couldn't think of a reason. Reaching the top of the staircase, he at last stepped out onto the open roof. The time for a half-baked conjecture was past. Kano would lay his doubts at Toteno's feet. Then, soon enough, everything would become clear. Inwardly, Kano did his best to convince himself of that. A warm breeze blew against his cheek. All 4 of them. He took a look around, but saw no sign of Toteno.
Detective Toteno, where are you?
Getting no response, he began to walk around the rooftop, calling out several more times.
It's Kano. I've come as you asked. Where's Hitomi Osawa?
Oh, I think that's Toteno.
Oh. Where's Hitomi Osawa?
Kano whirled around when he heard the voice behind him. Teteno stepped into view from behind a water tank. He led with him a young woman, bound and blindfolded. Did you expect that the assassin was Teteno?
Wait, no. Wait, what? That's Titano?
Looks like
What
it.
the heck? Wait, so this this is the guy that talks like T.S. Eliot, right?
Yeah. So now you have to mix T.S. Eliot and Barack Obama. And you have to growl.
What? I think that's too much to ask. Why didn't you bring her?
He growled. Kano stared in shock.
Detective Tatano, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria?
Ooh, we got a Maria jump, so we could jump to Maria if you want.
This is kind of exciting. Let's keep going with this. This is spicy.
Teteno responded by removing the young woman's blindfold. There was no doubt about it. She looked very much like Itomi Osawa. A surge of frustration rushed through Kano.
Detective Tatano, what is the meaning of this?
Kano fought to remain calm. He felt like he was on the verge of falling to pieces.
Bring me Hitomi Osawa, and I'll let this story go.
This music is pretty loud. When I just readjusted the volume, I did not expect the game monitor to be this loud. That's fine. We're rolling with it.
Why? What do you need Hitomi for?
But Teteno's only answer was an icy stare.
This isn't like you. It's so weird. The Detective Tatano I knew. No, who I know. Who you know?
Teteno cut him off.
What do you know about me? I know what sort of detective you are, sir. Because I've modeled myself after you for my whole career.
The older man's expression remained stony.
Don't you remember?
Kano went on.
That time you risked your life to talk down that man who barricaded himself inside that office? Ever since then, you've been my...
Teteno interrupted him with a sudden burst of laughter.
You really are gullible. You know that. You can only see things the way you want to see them. What do you mean by that? The truth is, I didn't even care if I died doing what I did. That's why I doused myself in gasoline.
Teteno's voice had gone low and quiet.
I mean, it would have worked half of the time. That was no display of heroics. It was more attempted suicide than anything else. I wasn't thinking about the other people still inside the building. It's just a coincidence things turned out the way they did. So then if you made a single misstep, then everyone in that building might well have burned to death. You're lying. That can't be true.
Kano shook his head insistently.
I don't have time for this conversation.
Teteno pressed the barrel of his gun to Maria's head.
If you don't bring Hitomi Osawa to me, believe me, I'll blow her brains out. Please stop this.
Kano shouted, but there was no hesitation in Teteno's eyes. He looked like he really would shoot Maria if Kano didn't do as he asked.
Hurry up. Bring your Tommy to me.
Can't you at least tell me what's going on?
Go now, or so help me, I'll shoot.
Kano drew his own gun from his jacket.
I know you, Detective Titano. I know there's some meaning behind all this.
Kano's words came out as an imploring croak. Nailed it.
Do you think you can shoot me?
Totino spat.
Is this...
Okay,
it's Kano.
I think it's Kano.
Letting Al-Qadwan go free, taking money or hostage, this has to mean something.
Sweat made Kano's hands slick where he clutched his gun.
I asked if you think you can shoot me.
I've always looked up to you. You were the sort of detective I wanted to become.
Kano's view of Toteno began to blur as tears welled in his eyes.
Can you shoot me, Kano?
I can.
And it's going to give us the choice. Even as he cried, Kano stood resolutely, doing his best to stare down the older man. He set his finger squarely on the trigger and pointed his gun at Toteno's forehead. Suddenly, the piercing stare vanished from the other detective's eyes.
I've got to give you full marks for that, Kano.
Toteno smiled thinly.
I'll tell you then. I'll tell you why I'm doing this.
To be continued? Oh no, we're going into it. It all happened 17 years ago. A meth addict had assaulted someone in Shibuya. Should I be reading this in his voice? Oh no, I guess not. Toteno was questioning people around Dogensaka in search of the perp. He happened to pass by Endo Electronics.
Wait, so this is Achi's dad?
Yeah, I think I'm Achi's dad, right? Yeah, I'm Achi's dad. Gotta do my Achi voice, but lower. Oh, hey, Toteno. Oh, nailed it. It was Kotone Endo, clad in pristine white. Who wants to be Kotone Endo?
You can be Katana.
Alright, I got it. Clutched to her breast was her daughter Suzune, only a few months old. It's been a long... Wait, how do I do Achi? Achi's like, hey. Hey, it's been a long time, Kotone said. She flashed a tiny smile.
Yes, it has.
Toteno replied with a clumsy smile of his own.
Are you on the job?
Yes, I am.
Kotone recoiled slightly at the dour look on Toteno's face. Held it.
Is something
Is
the,
something... Oh.
is something the
You-
matter?
Basically, there's an armed criminal hiding out somewhere in the area.
What?
I wouldn't leave the shop for a while if you can avoid it.
But I have to go to the bank to deposit some money.
Surely, you can have Daisuke go do it.
He's away on a repair job and hasn't come back yet.
Toteno let out a one-note sigh. How many notes does a sigh normally have?
It's like, a couple.
Instead, it's
few.
just like, ah.
Yeah, it's like, I see Daisuke still just thinks his own way. Alright, let me escort you to the bank.
You mean it? I'd feel a lot safer having you with me.
Kotone flashed him a smile so wide that Teteno thought he might lose himself in it. Teteno, Kotone, and Daisuke were childhood friends and had gone to school together up through high school.
Oh, it's that. Okay, I get it.
Teteno and Daisuke were always clowning around together, and Kotone was always there alongside them, laughing. It had been quite some time since he'd gotten to walk along Dogenzaka with Kotone. This is probably Kotone talking, right?
Yeah.
How have you been lately?
Oh,
Oh. How have you been lately?
Well, with a newborn to look after, it's been pretty hectic. But there's never a dull moment. Things have been good.
I'm glad to hear it.
Kotone was always as bright as a sunflower. Sometimes Teteno managed to convince himself that just the sight of her was enough. Outside the bank, Kotone held Suzune out to him. Teteno received the baby with an anxious frown.
What's with the face?
I'm not good with babies. I haven't held one very often.
Oh, you'll be fine. Don't worry. Just hold on to her for a minute while I take care of things inside.
Alright.
He held the baby gingerly, like it was a bomb that might explode at any moment. Kotone chuckled softly. Suzune stirred and squirmed in Teteno's arms.
She kinda has Kotone's eyes.
He thought. It was strange, the sensation of holding a child. She was so soft and light, and yet such a real and responsive presence. The faint warmth of her body warmed Teteno inwardly in turn. When Kotone returned after making her deposit, they strolled to a nearby park, Suzune back in her mother's arms.
Do you have any plans for marriage, Teteno?
I haven't thought about it. Work has me plenty busy.
Oh, that's just an excuse.
Kotone said.
If there really were some woman you wanted to marry, you wouldn't let work stop you.
Then I suppose it's because there hasn't been anyone I've felt that way about.
Really? Nobody this whole time?
Yeah, really.
I see.
But still, seeing the two of you like this makes you realize how nice having a family could be.
Teteno peered deeply into Suzune's face. Oh. This is somebody else, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if it ain't Teteno. He looked up as a cheery voice cut into the conversation. Oh yeah, nailed it. It was Daisuke.
What are you doing here?
He asked his wife.
I could ask you the same question. Come on, give me a break. I've come to make the deposit for the client. In that case, no need to worry. I just took care of it myself. I thought you'd forgotten about it. Huh? Really?
Kotone smiled as Daisuke reached down and carefully lifted Suzune in his arms. Beaming happily at his daughter, he nuzzled up against her tiny cheek.
Daisuke, long time, no see.
Yeah. Glad you're doing well for yourself, Teteno.
They walked side by side. Daisuke proudly showed off Suzune's drowsing face.
What do you think? Adorable, isn't she?
Yeah, luckily she doesn't have your looks.
Hey now, bad-mouthing me the same as ever, huh?
Some things hadn't changed since high school.
Hey, why not drop by our place for a bit?
Daisuke offered.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of a job, actually.
Tateno turned to glance at Kotone. An instant later, Daisuke screamed.
Kotone!
A man had come up behind his wife and now held a kitchen knife to her throat. Kotone stood stiffly, frozen in terror. Alright, who says this?
Let her go.
Okay, that's fine. Tateno took a step toward the man. The slightly upturned eyes, the close cropped hair, the thin mustache, all the details matched the description. This had to be the man Tateno was after. Alright, who wants to be this guy that Tateno was after?
I knew this guy.
Okay.
He's like, he's all keyed up, right?
Looks like it.
So he's like, so he probably sounds like Rigby from Regular Show. He's like, shut your mouth. You want to try and kill me, huh? This lady here wants to try and kill me.
The man was babbling nonsense. The reports had said the suspect was a tweaker, as opposed to a twerker. Right now, his mind was probably a complete mess from meth withdrawal. Left unchecked, there was no telling what he might do. Tateno shoved Daisuke behind him and drew his gun from his jacket.
Wait, don't shoot, you'll hit Kotone!
But Tateno ignored Daisuke's shouts and trained his gun on the perp's shoulder. He was confident in his marksmanship. He'd never miss at this range.
Tateno, please, back down!
Daisuke pleaded, Suzune still clutched in his arms.
I beg you!
I can.
Tateno hissed under his breath.
This isn't someone we can reason with.
The assailant began waving his knife about. He could stab it into Kotone at any moment. Tateno had to take the shot now. He aimed for the shoulder of the arm the man held his knife in.
Tateno, stop!
Daisuke shouted.
Don't do this!
For a brief moment, Tateno's eyes met Kotone's. He thought he saw her give a tiny nod.
Don't shoot!
It was all over in an instant. By the time Tateno had the perp subdued, Kotone's white shirt was soaked through with red. With Kotone's death, so too died Tateno's heart. Whatever feelings had lived inside him had been reduced to cinders, leaving only a never-ending need to atone. Countless times he'd thought of ending his life in order to make things up to Daisuke and his children. The only reason he didn't go through with it was that he knew death would be the easy way out. And so he stayed on as a detective. He would carry the weight of his sins with him for as long as he lived. This was the sentence Tateno gave himself. "15 years had passed since Kotone's death. For the first time, Tateno had gone to visit her grave. He was standing by the grave marker with his hands clasped, and someone called out to him from behind. Alright, who do you think this is?
If I had to guess, I would say it's probably. I'm not 100%, but for my money, I would say probably. It's probably Shizuo.
Alright.
It's like, excuse me?
Is that Shizuo's voice? I thought Shizuo was like, had a drawl, a southern drawl to him.
I was trying to do that. It might have came out more like, what's his face?
Like Achi? It came out like Achi a little bit. Oh, it doesn't look like it's him though. A slender young girl stood there, flowers in hand. Tateno instantly recognized her. Suzune. I don't have Suzune in my book. So you can decide.
Pardon me. I don't know. Do you want to do Suzune?
I'll do Suzune. Suzune. I gotta do like another Achi-esque.
But sickly. She's a sickly child, right?
Sickly child. She looked just like Kotone had back in her high school days.
Do you, know my mother?
She asked.
Yes. We were classmates a long time ago.
Oh, really? Thank you so much for coming.
Suzune gave a slight bow, then gazed up at Tateno with her big, bright eyes.
You look just like her.
Tateno struggled to hold back the tears. He felt as if Kotone stood before him, returned to life.
My father tells me the same thing all the time.
I'm sure once you're all grown up, you'll be just as beautiful as she was.
A forlorn smile came to Suzune's face.
Once I'm grown up? Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I guess I really do have a lot in common with my mother, including the part where I'm going to die young.
Don't be ridiculous.
Tateno exclaimed.
Why would you say such a horrible thing?
Suzune took a step backward, looking shocked to be rebuked by a stranger.
My apologies.
He said hurriedly.
I didn't mean to startle you.
No, it's all right.
Suzune murmured, clutching the flowers close.
Honestly, it's not something I like to talk about myself. But, I'm sick. So there's not really anything I can do to change it.
Sick?
I have a heart condition, which is a generic expression for illnesses pertaining to the heart. Also referred to as heart disease. It includes things like heart failure and valvular heart disease and so forth. It's a transplant is the only thing that can help me. But my blood type is a little bit weird, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to find a compatible donor.
The immune system exists to get rid of foreign substances in the body. Being compatible means that your immune system and the immune system of somebody else match. Or something like that. Then, bowing her head, Suzune stepped in front of the gravestone and clasped her hands in silence. Tateno felt a wrenching pain inside him, as if Kotone were being taken from him all over again. If there really was a god, why would he do such dreadful things?
Is there nothing I can do?
He nearly lamented aloud.
I'll do anything. Suzune. I'll do whatever I have to in order to save you.
Toteno clenched his fists as he stared at the grave.
Tell me, Katone. What could I possibly do for your daughter? Please, tell me. Please.
And so the months rolled on. Everything changed just after 10 o'clock that morning. Toteno was on the stakeout when his cell phone rang. He glanced at the call display and saw Daisuke Endo's name. He hadn't heard from Daisuke in years now. Fearing that something had happened to Suzune, Toteno answered the call despite his current tense circumstances. At once, he heard Daisuke wailing.
Suzune had a seizure. She might not come back from this one.
Toteno's terrible suspicions had been right on the mark. He felt himself growing weak.
Please,
Daisuke exclaimed.
you need to shoot that girl you're with, that Hitomi Osawa. You need to shoot her in the head. If we have her heart, we can save Suzune.
At first, Toteno couldn't make sense of what Daisuke was saying.
Hurry up and shoot! Shoot her, please! Hitomi Osawa has a Bombay blood type.
Wait. Hold on.
Toteno said, keeping his voice low.
Basically, you want me to kill Hitomi Osawa? Why?
He quickly scanned the area.
Daisuke, are you nearby? Wait, where are you?
Don't worry about that. If you can just render her brain dead, we'll be able to transplant her heart into Suzune.
The term brain dead refers to a state where the entire brain, including the brainstem, is beyond any recovery. Brain death can only be declared with the goal of authorizing a transplant and is subject to the judgment of at least 2 doctors inspecting the patient according to a preset process, at least 6 hours apart. So basically, shooting someone in the head didn't necessarily guarantee they'd wind up brain dead. And even assuming it did, if Toteno shot the Osawa girl here in the middle of the scramble, it would cause a giant incident. By the time the autopsy was completed, the window for a heart transplant would surely have passed.
Toteno, shoot her, please!
Daisuke, I can't. You know I can't do that.
Hurry!
It was like his old friend wasn't even listening to him.
Look, even if she did wind up brain dead, they wouldn't be able to perform a transplant.
But Daisuke kept on shouting.
Hey, shoot her! Shoot her! It's fine, it'll be fine. I'll make the transplant work somehow.
You'll make it work.
Even knowing how ridiculous that was, part of Toteno wanted to know what he had in mind, if anything.
I finally found it. I found something we can do for Suzune. Please help me help her.
Toteno understood Daisuke's feelings painfully well. To be helpless, to stop the suffering of someone you loved, nothing in the world hurt as much as that.
I want to save Suzune. Toteno, this is the one thing I will ever ask of you.
Toteno could hear choked weeping from the other end of the line, and at that sound, something inside him shifted. Yes, Daisuke was right. The likelihood of a transplant happening wasn't the issue. What mattered was that right now, he could take action. He could do something for Suzune. He mustered up his resolve, feeling the doubt lift from his heart. For Suzune. For the daughter of the woman he'd loved. Tateno checked the gun tucked inside his jacket, then slowly began making his way through the crowd toward Hitomi.
Basically, now you know why we're here.
Tateno gestured subtly with his gun, its barrel still pressed against Maria's temple. Kano's own gun wavered in his hands. He was crying inside. There was nothing else he wanted to hear from Tateno now. And now he was sure of one thing. Words were never going to stop this man.
Kano,
Tateno said.
I have seen all sorts of detectives come and go.
He fixed his lonesome gaze on Kano.
And you're about the worst of the lot. Whenever it's time to take action, you immediately do something reckless. Do you know how many formal apologies I've had to write because of you?
Tateno let out a heavy sigh, this one with more than one note.
But, you know, Kano, because the way you looked up to me, you've saved me. That's the truth.
He sounded like a man speaking his last words.
Now, come on. See if you can stop me.
He pressed the gun harder against Maria's temple. Kano took aim at his former hero's head.
Detective Tateno!
His finger wavered on the trigger.
Shoot him! You have to shoot him! If you don't shoot him, Marty's gonna die!
He tried desperately to convince himself.
I am going to stop you.
Tateno looked him coldly in the eye.
Do it then. Shoot me.
Kano stared right back. He tightened his finger on the trigger. Sorry for making us eat our vegetables.
No, that was a nice little sequence. I was not expecting that assassin dude to be Tateno. That's a nice little twisty.
I think when he first appeared, I was worried I would end up voicing like the assassin. You would voice Tateno, but I got you. Alright, so we've got Kawa. We can change, lighten the tone. I assume there's going to be some wacky hijinks. Or we can hop to Maria with this jump.
Let's check in with Maria. It's been a brick.
Alright. I mean, she has just been standing there, so maybe it's just going to be her standing there.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Alright, what happened with Maria previously? She's just hanging out. I hear a faint voice and realize that the man is listening to a wireless radio. Oh, I think this is Stanley. How's my Stanley voice? I've managed to secure Hitomi Osawa at Shibuya Central Hospital, the voice says. A gleam comes to the gunman's eyes. He pulls his cell phone from his jacket and hurriedly makes a call. Hurriedly.
This is still Stanley, right?
No, because Stanley's got with Hitomi. I think this is
Oh.
Tateno. Tateno, this is probably Obama mode, Tateno.
Basically, I've secured Mario Osawa.
He says to whoever's on the other end. Huh? Maria Osawa? Is my name Maria Osawa?
You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once.
Hitomi. Hitomi Osawa. If I'm Maria Osawa, what sort of relationship do I have to Hitomi? Is she
Probably a familial one.
my
if I had to
wife?
guess. My wife.
My wife.
If you don't bring her, I'll kill Mario.
Then my captor hangs up. Were you serious just now? My voice wavers uncontrollably. What do you mean you'll kill me?
Don't look at me like that.
He steps in closer to me, his expression dangerous. That killer's edge that he'd lost during our little talk is back in full force.
Just bear with me a little longer.
He blindfolds my eyes with some sort of towel. I can't see through it at all. Just then, I hear Kanan's voice inside my head. My memories are like shards of broken glass, tumbling through my mind, all out of sequence. Who do you think this is? Is this Kanan?
I think it's Kanan, yeah.
Alright. I think you read Kanan, and let's see, the voice I've got is like, I think Southern Polite. Yeah, Southern
Okay.
Polite.
She's like, how are you able to do that when the string is so tangled up?
Oh, once you know the trick to it, you can do it with your eyes closed. I'm showing Kanan how to do a cat's cradle. She reaches out for the string.
Huh?
She doesn't get hold of it quite right.
What gives?
Despite her efforts, the string gets all jumbled up. No, not like that, I say. Hook your index fingers through the front part of the string.
No, I get that.
Kanan's getting irritated.
Nailed it.
But after giving it a few more tries, she finally manages to pull it off.
There we go.
She says.
Look at that.
Seeing her innocent little smile bolsters my own spirits.
That's neat. Thanks for teaching me.
Oh, it's nothing special.
Here, as a thanks, let me teach you some skills to help protect yourself.
Abruptly, my memory jumps forward a bit. Kanan has been training me in some form of self-defense, which is the techniques for protecting oneself when attacked. Rather than defeating the opponent, self-defense training generally prioritizes simply getting oneself away from danger. Some people consider behavioral tenets like that, such as run away when you're attacked or don't go near dangerous places, to be forms of self-defense as well.
Don't overthink it.
She says.
People will either try to punch you, kick you, or grab you.
If you can stay ready for those three things, you'll be able to take it from there.
She demonstrates some defensive movements as I watch. I follow suit, doing my best to mimic her. Okay, let's do this. Kanan throws a punch at me. I dodge, grab her by the wrist, and give her arm a hard twist. Incredibly, she goes whirling through the air. She lands nimbly on her feet, a little grin coming to her face.
Nicely done.
She says. I stare down at my own hand. Did I really just do that?
Once you repeat the movements enough, your body will treat them like second nature.
I do as she says, trying to repeat the movements over and over. At first it feels like a silly gimmick, but eventually I can feel the motions growing smoother.
There you go. People like those thugs we met before won't get the drop on you again.
Thugs? Now my memories zip further back into the past.
Don't want no thugs. Thug is a guy that won't get no love from me.
I was wandering the streets trying to get back to my hotel, but I'd gotten lost. By the time I realized I'd wandered into some dodgy back streets, I was already surrounded by people giving me threatening looks. They must have been thugs looking for tourists to rob. If they had caught me, I'm not sure I would have made it out alive. But they hadn't. Kanan had seen to that. Thank you so much for what you did for me.
I didn't want there to be a scene here.
Kanan says bluntly as she surveys the aftermath of the thug's attack.
That's all.
I'd happened to be right underneath her apartment window when I was nearly abducted. Bit by bit, my memories of Kanan are starting to resurface. Just a little more. Just a little more and I'll have myself back. I'm sure of it. You know who this is?
Detective Tino, where are you?
A man's voice suddenly snaps me back into the moment.
It's Kano. I've come as you asked.
The gunman grabs me by the arm and yanks me to my feet.
Where's Hitomi Osawa?
He snarls.
Why didn't you bring her?
Is he gonna play the same scene but with no pictures because I'm blindfolded? Or Maria's blindfolded?
Ooh, I guess so.
Detective Tino, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria?
My captor removes my blindfold. The first thing I see is a huge blimp drifting slowly by, overhead. Huh. I'm sure I've seen it before. And pretty recently at that. There's a flash of revelation inside my head. Like a dam bursting, my memories come flooding back to me. Last night, I was at a party, a sort of mixer with the exchange students. Someone was plotting to use this party as an opportunity to abduct my sister, Hitomi. And so I told Hitomi that the party started 1 hour later than it really did. I had a plan, to let myself get abducted in Hitomi's place. Of course, the idea wasn't just to let myself get kidnapped. The necklace I wore was outfitted with a tiny GPS. Whenever I happened to be taken, Kanan would be able to track my location. What we hadn't counted on, though, was my necklace getting torn off when I was attacked. I'd managed to grab hold of it, but I hit my head when I was being shoved into the car, and it slipped from my grasp. I'm not sure how far we drove after that. In my fuzzy memories, I recall gazing blearily out the car window. That was when I saw the blimp, right after we parked. Alright, who do you think this is? For your money. If you had to guess.
I think it's I don't know. Avocado one?
I don't know either. Who wants to read it? Should I do it?
Yeah.
Yes, it went fine. Yes, it went fine.
There's a man talking to someone on his cell phone.
Alright. I'll shut her up inside the storeroom. I'll be waiting in the room upstairs.
The man dragged me out of the car and shoved me into some dark storeroom. Oh, it was... okay.
This is Daisuke?
I think it's Daisuke. It looks like Daisuke.
He looks like a Japanese what's that guy's name? The comic. He's really hot like 15 years ago. He's like, hey guys,
It's like Gabriel Iglesias? Is that what you mean?
no, that's a pop singer.
Are you talking about George Lopez?
No. Patton Oswalt. That's
Oswalt?
what I meant. Yeah, he looks like a Japanese Patton Oswalt, doesn't he? He's with that like bottom heavy face with those like jowls and stuff.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah, he kind of does. Especially in this lighting. In the American remake, they're gonna get Patton Oswalt to play him.
Oh yeah.
That's right. There's more of it coming back to me now. Alright, this is
Where's this
Kane,
coming?
probably.
You've spent your life living in a country at peace. In Japan. You couldn't possibly understand me.
Kanan again. So it's not like she and I became fast friends right away or anything. The two of us were too different in a lot of ways.
Where do you draw the line? What would you do to protect? What would you protect with your life? What does justice mean to you?
A forlorn look came to her face whenever Kanan asked me a new question. I never had a good answer for any of them. My flimsy grasp on my own personal identity made it hard for us to get along, yet I kept visiting Kanan's place for the duration of my trip. I recall doing the cat's cradle there at the table one time when we didn't have anything in particular to talk about. Her eyes had gone wide when she saw me deftly manipulating the string with my fingers.
Who taught you how to do that?
She asked. My mother. My real mother, that is. Kanan furrowed her brow.
What do you mean, real?
As opposed to my stepmother, I mean. My birth mother died after getting really sick. I was only 5 years old, so I don't remember her that well.
I see,
Kanan said. Her expression remained unchanged. What about your parents, Kanan?
I don't have any. They died during the war.
The bluntness of her response made my hand stop, the string still stretched between them. Sensing that we were treading on some serious ground, I hurried to change the subject. Do you have any friends?
No. Well, I used to have one.
Her use of the past tense made me fear the worst, and I was right.
He was killed too. By an arms dealer named Alfard.
Her tone was dry, matter of fact.
Now that taking revenge for his death is my sole purpose in life.
Despite the gravity of her words, her face was an unreadable mask. She seemed almost incapable of human emotion. So, what sort of person is this, Alfard?
A destructionist who masquerades as a terrorist.
Destructionist? That sure wasn't a term that came up a lot back in Japan.
Alfard doesn't believe in God and holds no political ideology. The chaos and destruction is just to earn money in order to carry out more terrorist acts.
So you're saying this Alfard commits terrorism because it's fun? Kanan nodded.
That's why every now and then, Alfard changes loyalties. Just when you think you've found ties to some Middle Eastern terrorist organization, it turns out the job was for the American CIA.
What the heck? So Alfard stands for nothing then? Kanan smiled dismissively at my little childish outburst. I couldn't help but feel a little patronized. I twiddled my fingers, turning my cat's cradle into a bridge. Kanan's eyes fixed right back on the string. A tiny surge of pride replaced my annoyance. She went quiet, watching closely as I worked my fingers. The tension in the room faded as the silence between us lengthened. My stepmother's the sort of person who couldn't do this sort of thing, I said at last. For some reason, I had a sudden urge to talk about my personal life. I guess she cares about herself more than looking after her children. She's not a bad person, though. She gives me weird bits of advice, like telling me to find someone to date, or that a woman's life is defined by a man. But it's not like I hate her or anything.
Would you mind teaching me?
Kanan asked softly. What, how to find a guy to date?
No.
She shook her head. Then she pointed to the cat's cradle strung between my fingers. Oh, you mean this? So I took her by the hand and started to teach her the cat's cradle. Hey, do you mind if I ask you something? I said after a while.
What's that?
That friend you mentioned earlier. Alf, what was he like? Kanan's fingers went still.
It's better if you don't ask. If I tell you, you won't want to come here anymore.
Ooh, spicy. That's not true, I insisted.
Even though I'm a terrorist?
She replied curtly. A terrorist is one who uses fear and violence to attain political objectives. The term has its origins in the Reign of Terror in the 18th century France, known in French as La Terreur. La Terreur.
I did not know that.
I swallowed a sudden lump in my throat, unable to find words.
We fight for righteousness, but you people call us terrorists. Am I wrong?
Righteousness is, in the religious sense, the state of being virtuous, free of sin, and observant of the proper rules of moral conduct. Not the same as being in the right, though many people equate the two. She cast a quick look at my face. But, I mean, you protected me. My voice wavered as I replied.
All I did was take down some thugs. I just didn't want them around.
What could I say to that? I just stammered.
Nah, I'm just messing with you.
Huh? Kanan flashed me another slight condescending grin.
I was just joking. Don't worry about it.
But he didn't get the sense that everything she'd said was a joke. Even if calling herself a terrorist was an exaggeration, the world Kanan lived in was unquestionably a dangerous one. I could tell that from the cold look in her eyes, a look you'd never expect from an ordinary teenage girl. Just what sort of hardships had she endured to acquire that deadly stare? Having lived all my life in peaceful Japan, I could scarcely imagine. Kanan tried and failed several times to get the cat's cradle right, but she didn't give up. She worked fastidiously by herself, fingers continuing to shift awkwardly about. Okay. Oh.
I think it's you.
Okay,
Thanks.
here we go. Oh, I think it is you. Oops.
Okay, here we go.
She hooked the string around her fingers and spread her palms. But the string shape just collapsed into a jumbled mess.
Confound it. Okay, one more time.
You can make this into a game with two people, you know. I plucked the string from Kanan's hands. You pass the string back and forth. Why don't we try that? It's more fun than doing it by yourself. I wrapped the string around my fingertips. What do you say? Want to give it a go? Kanan looked dubious. The intricately intertwined strings were like the world in a way. What had started as a single thread was now something that couldn't be undone just by pulling on it. I held my hands out, twirling the string around my fingers. Kanan took the pattern from me and spread her palms apart. She made a perfect bridge between her hands. The shy grin that came to her face made her finally look like a normal girl. I followed suit with a childish little laugh of my own. And, as if in a blaze of sunshine, the fog that's been hanging over my mind finishes receding. I remember everything. My name is Maria Osawa. My sister is Hitomi Osawa. And Kanan. She's a dear friend who I met in a far-off land. She helped me once, and now it's my turn to help her. I close my eyes as I reflect upon these precious memories, all of the dearer for having been lost. Now when I try to picture Kanan, I can do so clearly. It's just as I thought before. My memories are what make me who I am, and I would never choose to forget them. I feel almost as if time had stopped for me while my history was gone, and now it started moving again. I'm finally back to being me. And I have to go. I have to go back there one more time.
The bathroom?
One more time. Yeah, she hasn't gone all, oh.
End?
Of her story. And...
What? What the heck? But...
I mean, I
isn't
guess
she up?
she was held at gunpoint by, Tateno, so I don't know. guess that's the end of Maria.
That's probably a good place to stop.
Yeah. Looks like all we gotta do is finish Minotikawa, and then we'll go to the next hour. And we'll see what happens. Alrighty. So, that's the end of the episode. You got any thoughts, impressions, theories, reactions?
I don't know, man. It's getting pretty crazy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, there are like quite a few
get pretty crazy.
reveals there. The assassin and his backstory. And also, I guess we also got some Maria Kanan backstory.
Yeah, I was kind of starting to ship Maria Kanan, you know, like
Yeah,
all
I
that
ship
cat's
'em.
cradle and stuff.
They got the string, you know, passing it back and forth, making
Yeah, I'm sure
bridges.
someone's hand might have slipped at some point and then, touched the other one's hand, and they were like, "Ooh,
Yeah,
you touching my hand."
and the shy
Lord,
shy
I'm getting
smile
your
turns
baby.
into like a blush.
Yeah, we know we all know where it goes from there.
Welp. Let's work on this outro. What have you been eating lately?
I had an ice cream sandwich earlier today. It was about 9 inches long.
Yeah, and it took like 20 minutes to completely eat.
It did, and I wasn't. I actually wasn't. Had started eating it before I called you. So. I was taking my time, though. You gotta take
Yeah.
your time with dessert.
Yeah, I completely understand. You know, I'm just saying it's funny. It's a joke.
Dessert is not to be scarfed down.
Yeah. It's more about the flavor than the nutrition. So you gotta let it sit in the mouth a little bit. Enjoy
And
the
that's
texture.
why I don't eat dessert too much, because dessert is the food that you eat when you're not hungry. Right? Because if you were really hungry, like hadn't eaten all day, would you eat like ice cream or like caramel popcorn or something?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would pass on it.
You'd probably rather eat like a piece of chicken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a bit of a non sequitur for me. Like this is food for when you're not hungry. It's like, well, if I'm not hungry, I'm not gonna eat food. You big doofus! Like why would if I'm not hungry, I'm not gonna eat. So that's why I stick to meats and cheeses and noodles and stuff, and I tend not to mess around with dessert.
What do you think is the most filling dessert? Like if you were hungry and there were only desserts and sweets, which one would
Maybe
you
like
be
a
like, all right,
pie?
I'll settle with this one?
That's like a pie, probably. Like
Yeah, I was thinking like a pecan pie.
yeah, pecan's a good one because it's got a lot of fat. Um, Even some like apple, strawberry.
Yeah, pie is probably the way to go.
Like ice cream is one of the worst because it's just like it's not really food. You know? It's
Yeah.
like- Like I could see eating like a cake if I had to. I could see eating like a cake because it's like close to bread.
Yeah, I can see a cake. I was also thinking like an old-fashioned donut, 'cause that's pretty cakey, and it's also not too sweet, I suppose. It's
Yeah,
got a
what
lot of
makes a
thickness
donut
to it.
old-fashioned? What makes a donut old-fashioned?
Um, I don't know. It's like the way they make it. Because when you think of a donut, if you're thinking like a Krispy Kreme donut, those are like
Yeah,
really fluffy.
yeah. There's got a lot of air in them.
But old-fashioned donuts are thicker. Let me see. What does Wikipedia say? How are they made? They're like crunchier on the outside also.
It sounds like you're describing a cheap donut, like a donut that you get at like Shoppers or something, or Publix, to speak your language. Kroger, do they have that in Florida?
No, it's like
Right.
I don't know what makes it out. Maybe they deep fry it at a lower temperature, but it's just got like it's not soft and fluffy. It's like crunchier and thicker.
Yeah, it still sounds like you're describing a bad donut. If I ate like a really thick, crunchy donut, I'd be like, "Oh wow, that wasn't a very good donut."
I don't know. I like them.
Alright, noted. Aljo likes bad donut. If I ever get you a donut, I'll make sure to get you a really bad one. Pound cake. That's a good. If you had to eat a dessert and you were hungry, I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah, pound cake would be good. Definitely something that's not as airy. You know, maybe something with at least some
Chicken.
nuts in it too, to get a
Like
little
candied
protein.
chicken. Is lemon chicken a dessert?
I don't think so. I wonder if there is like a way you can use. What's a savory dessert? Probably a
Honey
soup,
baked
huh?
ham. Yeah, like matzo ball soup. Beef stew.
What about like a instead of a strawberry pie, they use tomatoes, or strawberry shortcake
Oh
instead of
yeah.
tomato shortcake. But
Yeah,
it's like
with, some
tomato and
Parmesan
instead of
cheese
like
on top.
yeah.
Maybe a nice meat sauce. Some ground beef.
All right. Well, that's a good enough outro. Thanks for watching. Next time, we're gonna finish that hour, and we're gonna see if there's more to the story. There probably is.
Yeah, I think Maria died though. That's really sad. Pardon me.
All right. You think we'll do this next week? I guess I
Yeah,
don't
I
really
think so.
ask this when we record. But yeah, we
Ooh,
probably
a
will.
little peek behind the curtain. See how the sausage is made at the end of every episode. We can try to figure out if we're recording next week. I think so though. I don't have anything going on next week.
Yeah, we will probably be fine, but we'll see. But until then, catch you guys later.
See you folks.